What's up, guys? Welcome to our podcast.
It's
Jolson.
and Ruby, and today
Today
we're going to be
talking about animal testing and what our takes are on it. Yes, Ruby.
Yes.
But first, what are we going to do today, Ruby?
First, we're going to establish what everyone else is thinking about testing. So, people think that it's bad and it should be completely removed
from the face of our planet. However, I think people realize how much we need it in our everyday lives, because in a lot of things we use it, right? Like the makeup on her face.
Oh, look, a strawberry.
It wouldn't be 100% safe if it wasn't tested on animals,
Yeah, that's true.
right?
But this podcast is open to both sides of the story. Some things that shouldn't necessarily be tested on animals. For example, let's say you have a makeup product and you're like, oh my gosh, I love it so much. It's great. Hasn't even been tested on an animal.
Yes.
And it's amazing. And then your favorite brand comes out with this new thing and you're like, oh my gosh, I must get it because it's so popular. But
You have a bad reaction to it.
and it was tested on an animal. So
The reason for that, most likely, if it was tested on animals, but you have a bad reaction to it, probably because in science, people don't have all the same genetics and skin and types, right? So maybe it was great tested on animals, but on your skin, you had a very bad reaction to it because your skin was different, right?
I would say you really should do research about the product you want to buy before buying it because of popularity. And like if it's
Don't just trust
if
popular
it's a popular brand or if it comes from like a person like you saw on social media,
people.
you don't have
It's
to
not always
fully
trustworthy,
rely on it.
right?
Yeah, and you can't fully rely on animal testing when it's not fully trusted. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yes. So, animal testing. Let's go back to the beginning. What is animal testing? Animal testing is when you test products or medicines on animals to see what the outcome would be, right?
Yes. So animal testing can be used to cure diseases,
Such
which is why
as-
we shouldn't completely take it away.
Yes.
So such as insulin and penicillin. So without these things, millions of lives could have been
yes.
lost. And
My
so,
mom is diabetic, and without insulin, she could have died long time ago, right?
Right. So animals are not only pets and part of nature, but they're also
Think about it this way: they're also heroes, because it's one animal saving millions of lives, right?
But they shouldn't be referred to as if you're not a pet, they shouldn't be referred to as
Test subjects.
yes, they should be referred to as a victim, and they should just be they have no control over what's happening to them. They have absolutely no control, and I
Also, let me
remember,
add something though. People disagree because they think that our genetics and what's the word that I'm looking for? Biological systems are not the same as animals. Scientists know this, so what they did was they found animals that had the closest representation of our systems and tested on them.
Yeah,
So they're not just picking up a random animal off the street and mistreating them and hurting them.
I remember I read this book once, and it was there were these rats being tested on, taken into labs, and they were being tested on, and they tested on something, and it gave them the ability to have a smart brain. So
Yeah.
when you think about it, it's kind of
So I'm just gonna add to this. So that's more fictional, but this does happen. So sometimes the products that are tested on animals help cure the diseases that the animals have.
yes, that's where that's
Right?
where
It's
I'm
not
going.
even just it has to be very big. It's very small things that help the animals. It's not even just people are just hurting them. It also benefits the animals too.
Yeah, because of that benefit, it really helps that species. So even though it's fictional, it can relate to real life human testing, because what Wilson said it actually relates to how things can actually help an animal, and even some products they're making them for the animal actually, and they're
Yes.
testing them on the animal.
But then it turns out that it can also help humans. Just like curing diseases, right?
Yeah.
Some of the sicknesses, they can also be cured. So let's get away from all the boring stuff, the history stuff, the facts. Let's go to our opinions, okay, Ruby?
Okay.
So I'll start with mine. My opinion is that animal testing is not the greatest. It's not in God's plan, not in God's vision. However, we need it in this day and age, right?
Yes.
So let me read you guys a Bible verse that I believe is very important. It is the Bible verse, Genesis 1:28. It says, humanity is given responsibility over Earth, which some interpret as allowing genetic advancements that heal or help but within responsible boundaries. This verse is basically saying that it's like in God's plan, sort of, that if we use our resources correctly, it will help us.
Yeah, something
here.
that kind of relates to that is like my personal opinion is like I am for it once it comes to saving millions of lives, but when it comes to putting on like a makeup product, like that's not right and that's not fair to the animals. So a Bible verse I found is Proverbs 12:10, which says, "A righteous man cares for the needs of his animal, but the kindest acts of the wicked are cruel." So this verse directly like tells us that like we should really be caring for animals, and even the animals that are being tested on, we shouldn't be like, oh, they're not my pet, so I don't care at all about them. And so it's basically just saying like we really should like care for them and try to use as
Yes.
less animal testing as possible. And that's our podcast.
All right, guys, let's wrap this up. What are the main points that we had today? Today, we talked about the history. We talked about the millions of lives animal testing has saved. Our opinions, mine is more of like, it's helpful, it's great, but it's like to some extent, it's kind of cruel. What about you, Ruby?
Yeah, I would say it's basically like that. It's like I would just say it's necessary.
Yes.
But I would just say it's necessary.
It's necessary, but it's not great.
Yeah.
Right? But at this day and age, all of like the alternatives that we have, they're not very, like what's it called? What was the word I used earlier? Rock bottom. No.
What?
We can edit this out. Hold on. What was the word I used?
Well, that is basically
Our
main points,
podcast.
and
And thank you guys for watching
Thank
so
you.
much. We'll see you
Bye.
guys next time. All right. Bye bye.